Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. I'm glad you're in tune. Today is it a fruit, vegetable, legume, or because we're in the month of June? June plum. Yum yum, give me some. It's not the season, but soon come June plum. Yum yum, give me some. Taste buds love it to the maximum. Some other names people have for this. Umbrella, spondias, dulcis, green or yellow. Depends how ripe the fruit is. Tastes good, healthy, does the business. Check out some of the health benefits. A lot of vitamin C in it, vitamin K, vitamin A. Yes, well equipped. Antioxidant, antibiotic. What else is there in the June plum? Minerals like iron, calcium, magnesium, potassium. That's why your body says, give me some. Jamaicans like it a lot like treasure. Tasty and can help the blood pressure, immune system and the blood sugar and constipation through the fiber. Eat it. I make June plum juice. Medicinal, but not just the fruit. People use the seeds and the leaves and root. Plants are medicines. That's the truth. June plum. Yum yum. Give me some. It's not the season, but soon come. A medical Monday. Yes, I am.
Yeah, welcome to the Real HD Show, the Higher Discussion, the place where you come because it's prime time with a purpose. Don't get nervous. We're going below the epidermis to resonate the surface. You know what I mean? Job of resurrectors is to wake up the dead. So we here tonight for that. Um, and we are here tonight for this. AI digital gods. Been around for years. And we're also here for Cleopatra movie games. You know them folks like to play them Cleopatra movie games. You know? 1 year Cleopatra is white, 1 year Cleopatra one movie Cleopatra is black, 1 year Cleopatra is Indian, 1 year Cleopatra is Mexican, Chinese, Japanese, Okinawan, you know. So we're gonna get into some of them things tonight, man. We on a Real HD Show here for you. You know what I mean? Be true. This is what we do. But before we do that, please, please, please patronize some of our sponsors. Redeem Vacations is one, and we got a great deal. I'm part of that org, and if you know, bring your 5 guests to the Real HD Show, then you will be automatically a winner of a 5-day, 4-night vacation voucher on us, the Real HD Show. That's how we trying to give back. We know during this time of like medical upheaval and social upheaval, folks need to relax. Folks need to get back. Folks need to do what they need to do to get healthy. And that's why we just showed you the AAT report. Healthy, Wealthy, and Wiser, led by Maccabee, talking about June plum and some of the benefits of June plum. So support Maccabee on his channel. Support Hip Hop Cartoons, our other, the other business that we co-sign on the Real HD Show. And also support Redeem Vacations. All of that together will be the trifecta that you need to get better, courtesy of the Real HD Show. That's right. Bring 5 guests to the show at any given time. If they refer to you as who have brought them to the show, you too can get that voucher and have a great beginning to your spring and summer season. So we gave you sponsorship, we gave you health information. And before we move forward with today's topics and information, we gotta do our elders and ancestors blueprint. So today our message comes from an elder. And you've heard this brother before, powerful brother. When he speaks, people around the world listen. And he always has something sharp and fruitful and beneficial for our folks. I'm talking about nobody I'm talking about no one other than the minister, the Honorable Louis Farrakhan. So we're gonna play a couple. This clip is about 10 minutes long, but I'm gonna play about maybe 2.5 minutes, and then we will jump into the rest of our program. Peace. Elders Blueprint, Real HD Show. Here we go.
He didn't grow up like we grew up. How did you grow up, Giuliani? A privileged cracker? Or I should say, a privileged devil. When you got it, it's over. When the youth got it, it's over. Because when you know what's happening, young man and woman, the white man's world has come to an end. You already know something is wrong with his education. You already know that something is wrong with his religion. You already know that something is wrong with his world. But you just don't know how to get out of it. You were born to go to war with his world, but you haven't heard the right voice yet. So the white man said, well, yeah, that Elijah Muhammad, he's teaching them who I am. Now he's pulled the cover off of me, and I'm exposed. And all these black folk know my real name now. It's not Frenchman, Italian, Englishman, it's devil. And now all these blacks are calling me devil. And they know I'm the devil. And now they don't want to have nothing to do with me anymore. I fix up my women and girls, I make them sharp. And I send my little white girls on them. Now that they know I'm the devil, they tell the girl, get on that. I want my black woman. And the white girl run away feeling bad, brother. Look here. In my conclusion, have you ever heard the story of Samson and Delilah? That's the white man's last trick, brother, is the white woman. That's his last trick. If you can turn her down, you on your way to paradise. If you can turn the white woman down, brother, you on your way to heaven. Look, she dresses, take off her clothes, put on that perfume, talk soft, meet you in the disco, and you know you can dance. Hello, Sam. Oh, how are you? I'm so happy to meet you, Sam. You know, where I grew up, I didn't get to know many Negroes. I mean blacks, Afro-Americans. I'm so confused.
Hey, that's what it is. I could have played that for another 15 minutes because you know your brother, the Honorable Louis Farrakhan, could talk. That brother can get it in, and everything is valuable. But we want to get on with the rest of the show. So welcome to the Real HD Show, the Hiya Discussion. What do we do here? We go over these chaotic headlines and we solve it with freedom music. How do you get to freedom music? Well, you jump on the live backstage pass, right? You use the call letters here. And you jump backstage with us at 7:30. Between 7:30 and 8 o'clock, we rock. We play that good freedom music. We play that conscious music. We play that throwback 80s, 90s, 2000s hip-hop that everybody love. And we get right with ourselves. We play that neo soul. We play that soul. We go back to our ancestors and play them oldie but goodies that feel good and that do you right. And you too can get involved and rock with us backstage exclusively on the Hiya Discussion. We can have intimate conversations. We can talk about, being progressive. We could talk about self-determination. We could talk about a lot of things that we need to get done for our people off air and really make sense of some things, you know what I mean? But we do that in our, musical moment, 7:30 to 8, backstage on the Real HD Show. So this is the Hiya Discussion, prime time with a purpose. Why do we call ourselves prime time with a purpose? Because we feel we're here to help. We feel we're here to help. For sure. We feel we're here to do the work that nobody will, say the things that nobody will, say the thing that everybody wants to kowtow and cower about. Because maybe you're worried about your job, maybe you're worried about your social standing, maybe you're worried about how your peers are going to see you, maybe you're worried about political strife that coming back your way. And people really, in a lot of ways, especially our folk, want to stay out. But this is the talk forum for revolutionary decorum. So let's start exploring. It's called the Hiya Discussion. That means we talk about things that pertain to Black first, our folks. We take them all, blind, crippled, and crazy. We just can't be thought lazy. That means when you get in here, you got to say it with your chest, say how you feel, and try to be progressive and not negative toward what the topic of the evening is. Now, if you want to be a troll, we take y'all too, but just know that the Real HD cast and crew and me, the Vic 7, who leads the Real HD, you're dealing with some folks that come equipped. So if you ain't ready, don't come here with no foolishness. All right? All right. But if you come in here looking to be progressive, you come in here just looking to gain understanding, you overstanding, you come here ready to do the work of Talib. That means to learn. That means to, collectivize, to galvanize, so that we could put forward a progressive future. I'm with you. Let's rock. You rocking with the Hiya Discussion. Prime time with a purpose. PT Dubs P. That's what we do here, man. You know what I mean? So you guys saw a lot, and we went through all our segments really fast. It's 15 after the hour, and you're dealing with the Real HD Show. So I wanted to get into a couple things before we really jump into the main topic of the night, which is two things: digital gods and the Cleopatra movie, the Black Cleopatra movie that's about to come out. That got internationally, that got everybody's drawers in their ass. They got their panties in a bunch because they don't know how they want to feel about it. They know it just messes with their hegemony and control. You know what I mean? Their overall image control. They love to write the story of history, and when someone else comes along to tell their narrative, sunlight shining on cockroaches. You know what I'm saying? They like to scramble and create narratives that are dangerous and deceptive. But like Tucker Carlson and Don Lemon, if you create too many narratives, if you come up with too much of a ruckus, you got your comeuppance waiting for you too. You got that machete waiting for you too, for that neck. You know what I'm saying? But let's get into it, man. Power to the people news. Wait, what just happened? This just happened. Texas man, 36, is sentenced to 70 years in prison for spitting on cops at a domestic violence arrest after prosecutor asked the jury to send a message with their decision. Wow. So here we go. We're in the state of Texas. And Texas, like Florida, like other southern constituencies, states, are looking to send messages through their politics. And what better way to send a message to Texans, Black Texans, melanated Texans, than to sentence a man in Texas for 70 years for probably what amounted to a disrespectful gangle of cops and what they did. So Larry Pearson, a brother, 36, was sentenced Wednesday after he was found guilty of 2 counts of harassment of a public servant for spitting on 2 officers in May of 2022. He was arrested for domestic violence incident where the cops flagged an officer down on the Zenith Avenue and claimed Pearson had hit her several times. Pearson was taken into custody and grew angry after police refused to arrest the victim. He began to kick the car doors and spit on them. Now, I'm sure they're not really giving you the entire scoop on this piece. And remember, if you want to join the show live, it's right down there in the chat. I'll let you up. We can chop it up. We can talk. We blasting off from 5 Facebook outlets: YouTube, Twitch TV, Twitter, IG, Mob Crush, D-Live, Trovo Nation, and iHeart Radio TV. Peace, y'all. It's the Real HD Show. Let's go. So we getting back to this. Power to the People News. Texas man Larry Pearson sentenced 70 years for spitting on a cop. Wow. They also said he was kicking car doors and doing some other, I guess, bombastic things in the public. But black folks ain't no strangers to cops. And they know what the ramifications are for dealing with cops in a certain type of way. Violent, bombastic, outlandish, being belligerent. We know what that consequence is. And that consequence more than likely is going to be jail time of a significant nature. For 70 years, y'all. 70 years after the DA suggests to send a message through this 36-year-old man. And again, in this byline, because I'm not going to read the whole article, you guys can go to dailymail.com and read the entire email. You will see that in the Daily Mail, there's no recount of what the cops did, what they do on the scene of the crime. Did they come through and, like they usually do, exacerbate the situation? Did they come through threatening? Did they come through and give that brother the same courtesy to find out what was going on as the woman who called in the incident? And sisters, this is not to blame you sisters and put y'all on Front Street. But we do know that 911, that 911 nuclear option for brothers, that's a whole weapon. And time has shown that that weapon really doesn't help our families. Now, I know some people will be like, oh, you know, we try not to do that unless we absolutely have to. I should say it's not something you should do at any juncture. There shouldn't be any recall for that. There shouldn't be any reason why you call the race soldiers, and that's exactly what they are, on brothers, because they know then it becomes a violent showdown between white men and black men. There's no law involved in what's going on. But I'm trying to pull something up and let you see something that I kind of was trying to show you guys last show. Let me see if I can pull it up, because it has something to do with the police powers and the 10th Amendment. So I'm going to pull that up. I'm just searching my archive. I'm going to find it quickly. Bear with me, family. We will get right to it because it's very important. Let's see. Okay. Okay. So I couldn't find it, but I'll just tell it to you. Okay. So the 10th Amendment grants police powers. And they say that powers that are not reserved for the states are delegated to police officers and are reserved for the people. Don't believe me? Look it up. Trying to find out right now. And in understanding that those powers are reserved for the people. Give me 1 second, typing it up. Amendment. Okay, here we go. Got it. Powers not delegated to the United States by Constitution, nor prohibited to it by the states, are reserved to the states, respectively, or to the people. Now, that's out of the 10th Amendment in Congress. So what that means is you guys are just as important or just as necessary as police officers. So don't let them tell you that you don't have powers under taxation and under the document of the Constitution that you pay taxes so that this country can honor. What was interesting about that, right, about this case of the young brother, Larry Pearson, and I'm not going to give him a perp walk. I'm not going to put the brother's picture up. Go look him up. It's on dailywire.com. It's also on probably every news outlet you can find. They don't recount the cops' portion or there's no accountability for what the cops did to set this brother off so that he's kicking police car doors, spitting at cops. That's a business decision for black men in America, for sure. If you're going to do that, you know there's smoke waiting for you behind that. And you know those cops are going to take carte blanche to get the tasing, to get the beating on you, to get the shooting on you, to get the acting a wild fool on you in gang fashion, right? So there must have been some sort of motivation for this brother to do what he did. But while they're asking for send a message with their decision, right? And those who will say to themselves, wait a minute, I know some good cops. And I know cops are here to help us. And I know cops are here to protect and serve. But this sounds like a RICO to me. What say y'all? We got a couple of people watching. We got mad people in Mob Crush D Live. We got YouTube popping. We got Twitch. We got Twitter. Put it in the chat. What do y'all think? Does spitting on a cop in Texas deserve 70 years of a sentence? That's murder numbers. What do y'all think? How many times have we seen cops defile, dehumanize, take dignity of brothers and sisters in the street and expect you to just take it, expect you to just walk with it? Especially, you got to protect yourself and be on guard like most of the time when you're dealing with police officers in very, very vigilant ways because of things like this. 17 Cali cops sent racial slurs back and forth and in a chat room and threatened the black mayor of San Francisco in a series of sickening threats. Now I'm going to pull it up and we can talk about it. I'll read the byline just a bit and we could get into it because I think that deserves some credence. Now, I'm not saying every cop is bad, but there's enough out there and the system is self-perpetuating enough so that when these type of things happen, where's the recourse? Where's the redress of grievances? How do we fully get to the bottom of this? Here's the bottom line. More than a dozen cops in California referred to black people as monkeys and gorillas, and even threatened to shoot their mayor, their black mayor, in a series of group chat racist texts, according to FBI law enforcement. Documents released by Contra Costa County District Attorney's Office and FBI showed that 17 officers, that's damn near 24, sent racist texts and messages and memes filled with racial slurs to each other. One and a couple of texts directed at Antioch Mayor Lamar Thorpe, a brother. The message uses slang that refers to shooting someone with a 40mm launcher, a so-called less lethal ammunition. And of course, they were feeling emboldened by everything that was going on in the George Floyd protest era. And they wanted to act out amongst each other in their private company and show their distaste for it and their blatant racism for it. So let us know. Let us know. Should this brother have gotten 70 years for spitting on a cop when we know how cops antagonize and entrap our young men? And you often feel like if not for violence, you don't have a way out of those situations. And then in a similar frame, almost 24 cops busted for a gang of chat room related racist comments, racial slurs, and other things that were just ridiculous in the way of what cops do in this country to black and melanated people. Let us know, man. Put it in the chat. Let's talk about it. That's what we're here for. We're the talk forum for Black First News, for progressive movement and revolutionary decorum. Let's get to exploring on the Real HD show, the Hiya Discussion. We're not an echo chamber, so if you don't feel the same as me or any of the panelists or guests, you can say your piece. But we need the conversation. That is absolutely paramount. The conversation is the whole thing. We can't begin to do anything if we're not meeting each other, at least in the conversation. Okay. So we heard about all that went into the brother Larry Pearson. Keep your head up, brother. There may be redemption for you yet. Hopefully you could file some higher court appeals, get that going. And hey man, if y'all want to kick up an appeal strategy for brother Larry Pearson, jump on the Real HD show every Monday and Wednesday. Let us know what you feel. I mean, and I'm telling you straight up, like, I think the police brutality of the last 2 decades is trying to squeeze out the black middle class in America. And a lot of it is done by eliminating the ability of black men and women to be mobile, because they often do it by, you often hear automobiles involved in these incidents where they're profiling one and they'll pull them over, start an altercation, and then things pop off in a real ugly way that either lead to violence or death or some sort of craziness. Shout out to the Bay family, man. Hopefully everybody in the Bay family of Rochester, New York are happy and healthy. And I know they've had their run-ins with law enforcement, and I hope that has ceased. I hope you guys are happy and healthy. Jump back on the show, brother Abdul. We love you, man. Come on the show. Talk your ish. Say your piece, brother. You always welcome here on the Real HD show. So we're talking about police brutality. We're talking about unnecessary, exacerbated sentences. This brother Larry Pearson in a state like Texas getting 70 years in prison in a decision for spitting on a cop, probably provoked. The article doesn't give enough account of what the officers were doing, but we do know what these cops in California were doing, almost 2 dozen. They were in a chat room giving and contributing to racist behavior when they're supposed to be objective law enforcement. But we know that doesn't exist. And why do we know that doesn't exist? Because there's a secret damn police station owned by the Chinese in New York City. What? Hell to the yeah. You heard it right. Secret Chinese police station in New York leads to arrest. So I'm going to read a little bit of the byline while it's there, and we can see if we can get to it. Do it. AP News. 2 men were arrested Monday on charges that they helped establish a secret police station in New York City on behalf of the Chinese government. And everybody was wondering why that damn balloon was floating all over the place, right? A couple of weeks ago. 3 dozen officers in Chinese National Police Force were charged with using social media to harass dissidents inside the United States, authorities said Monday. The cases were part of a series of Justice Department prosecutions in recent years aimed at disrupting Chinese government efforts to locate in America pro-democracy activists and others who are openly critical of Beijing's policies and to suppress their speech. One of the cases announced Monday concerns on a local branch of the Ministry of Public Security, Chinese Ministry of Public Security, that operated inside the office building in the Manhattan Chinatown neighborhood before the closing last fall amid an FBI investigation. 2 men who were arrested were acting under the direction and control of the Chinese government official and deleted communication with that official from their phones after learning of the FBI's probe in an apparent effort to obstruct the inquiry, according to the Justice Department. How y'all feel about that, man? Let us know. Secret Chinese police station in New York lead to arrest. So this begs a real big question. What in the world did this got to do with us? Well, I'm going to tell you. A little while ago, right? A little while ago, maybe about early this year, maybe sometime last year, when Biden put together that Asian hate crime bill, New York seemed to be running rampant with Asian people getting mugged left and right. Nobody seemed to know how and why and who was doing it, and the suspects all looked the same. But that seemed to be the modus operandi. That seemed to be the way that people were, the message that we were given from the macro media. Black people going crazy, beating on Asian folk. Now we're finding out there's secret Asian police stations in New York. How do we know? Through some sort of espionage, through some sort of backdoor channels. All of those Asian mob situations, or all those Asian situations where they were accosted and beat up and mugged in public, weren't just staged for that very reason. Let us know, man. Talk to us in the comments. We got people out there. We got people watching. We need to hear from you. Don't be silent. Let us know. Put it in the comments. Put it in the chat. I'll put it up on the screen. We can have a talk about it. Or if you really feeling frisky, you could jump on the live stream right there. I'll pull you up on the stage and we can get to it. Do it right here on The Real HD Show. We appreciate all those who are watching. We appreciate all those who are participating. We love you. Rock with us on the Real HD Show. Yeah, man. So we got some other stuff happening in the news. Power to the people news. Wait, what just happened? Let me load it up because this just happened. Let's put our power to the people news joint up there. And let's give it to them like this. Black Twitter goes crazy on Dr. Phil. Yeah, they went crazy on Big Head, right? After he said reparations would be an absolute disaster. This is what Dr. Phil had to say. And he was on the show with reparations researcher, Dr. Sandy Darity out of Duke. He's a foremost economist in the space of reparations research and economy research. And he had some very poignant things to say. And I love the way that when people, especially white folks, YT, right? Especially when them folks get together and they get to talking about whatever reparations will look like for a debt that is owed. You'll want to talk about 250 years of chattel slavery, 400 years of terrorism and savage inequalities to follow, equaling 400 years. They always want to come at you about reparations like we would not be responsible with the reception of reparations. If we got it, we would not be responsible with it. Don't pocket watch me, first of all. Get up out of my pocket. Don't pocket watch me. Second of all, if I spend my money on bubblegum, that's my business. So Dr. Sandy Darity, brother from Duke, said it would take about 14 to 19 trillion to reward all 40 million brothers and sisters in the United States who are descendants of slaves with a reparations package. And reparations just shouldn't stop at financial awards. It should also be protections, governmental protections, a hate crime bill, and other things that would cement maybe the changing of the 13th and 14th and 15th Amendment as it pertains to the independence of incarcerated black folk. But that's another conversation. This dude, Dr. Phil, seems to think that we're not entitled to it because we would spend it irresponsibly. Richard Wolff, economist in his own right, had this to say about reparations. What he said was, and you can go on the Tom Hartman archives and find out what Richard Wolff is talking about. Richard Wolff said, if black people got reparations the way that Sandy Darity at the clip of 350,000 per family or per descendant, the dollar would once again be number one internationally because of the way that we would go about it. It would be an influx of capital. A lot of folks would invest that money. That money would infuse American businesses. There would be more homes bought, businesses developed. It would be a supercharge to the American economy, especially after the savage inequalities in the fiat money system that we're currently dealing with. How you feel about that? Let us know, man. Let us know if you rocking with what Dr. Phil said and you think reparations is not necessary and it would only be a disaster because we would spend it irresponsibly, or do you think you deserve your check come what may? And I need to spend it how I need to spend it. And I don't need white people guilt about how I spend my money or my ancestors' penance for what's happening with our history in this country. Let us know, man. Put it in the chat. Let us know where you at. because this is popping off too. While that is happening, you got this happening as well. Republican Ohio wants to give white people reparations. Let's check that story out. Yeah, man. In the TNR News says Republican Senate candidate suggests reparations for white people. Now, I'm not going to tell you right away what this reeks of, but it reeks of a lot of cap. I'll go into that in a second. But you got Dr. Phil in Texas saying that black people don't deserve the reparations because we spend it irresponsibly. Not your business. Get out of my pockets. And you got a Republican Senate candidate, Benny Moreno, right? Let me pull up an article on this joker so we could read a little bit about it. Right now, cooperate with me now, okay? Yeah, man. So we, what they don't understand is that there have been 4 instances in American history where reparations were given out. Reparations were given to Jews. Reparations were given to Chinese for the internment camps that they were in. Reparations, they even was talking about giving reparations to LGBTQ people who they felt had some, atrocities dealt to them. And they also, this is a New Republic article where you can find this at. And then there was also the Homestead Acts. And the Homestead Acts gave farmland, homes, training, so that these folks could manifest west, right? Manifest destiny and do the, settle the frontier moving west in the 19th century. But now this dude is suggesting this. I'm just going to read a little bit of the first byline. Trump approved Republican Ohio Senator Bernie Moreno, with a name like Moreno, Moreno, black, melanin, man. All right, Mr. Italian dude. Says to hell with reparations for the descendants of slaves. What about people who freed them? So this is also a real itsy bitsy spider argument that's creeping up too. That white people freed black people in the Civil War, so they deserve reparations for their dead. Black people fought in every American war that has happened, home or abroad. So miss me with the, you did something nice for us. You guys must have history fucked up. If it wasn't really for the adjunct military forces that were melanated, you guys wouldn't have had the numbers to win the wars that you did. Facts on top of facts. So that's what it says. It says white people died to free black people. That never happened in human history before, but it happened here in America. That's actually not true. The Moors had janissaries, and they were white people who fought for black Moors in the Iberian Peninsula. Look it up. That's not talked about in school very much, is it? Moreno says. Foot and mouth disease, dude. As if the conservative movement hasn't already gone full throttle in whitewashing American history and pitching white Americans as saviors. There you go. So here we go with the savior complex that some folks believe is pivotal to being a national in Estados Unidos, as they call it, United States, right? So tell us how you feel, man. Jump in that comment, man. Let us know what's popping off, let us know where you're at. If not, we will be moving right along, because there's a couple of stories that we want to get to, and then we're going to get to the core of the show. And the core of the show is what we're here for tonight, which is this: AI, digital gods, and the Cleopatra movie games. So they like to play games. These folks in the macro community love to play these identity games. And now they got a whole new generation of people playing identity games. Wink, wink, honk, honk, right? And that's what we're here for tonight. We about to get to it right here, right now. And if you want to join us, there's the link to the show, StreamYard.com, SJEZDNUKE. And you too, come on through and say your piece, your voice, your victory. No echo chambers. Here, we just try to see clear on a Real HD show, the higher discussion for our people. So we were talking about these cats here. So I'm going to say something real quick. I think people like Ron DeSantis in Florida, and I think people like this cat in this Republican in Ohio who's trying to make a name for themselves. You know, I think they do anything for clout. They do anything for clout. So this is what these people who are their constituents want to hear. They're not for LGBTQ, Ron DeSantis. And they're not for reparations. This cat here. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be so bombastic and bold as to say white people should have reparations when they already got it. Andrew Johnson, the president, after Lincoln was assassinated, created laws that if you were cooperating with Union efforts to begin Reconstruction, they gave you reparations for your slaves and grants to repair and or move west during the Reconstruction period, or at least as long as Andrew Johnson was executor of these states that eventually became corporations. You know what I mean? And that's a whole nother discussion. But hit us in the chat, man. Let us know where you at. We want to hear from you. Come through. We want to talk about these things. But let's jump into one of the main event areas of what we need to talk about. And we're going to jump into, Power to the People news. You know what I'm saying? Let me pull up the story. So it's Power to the People news. I hope you like my little Power to the People news headline. You know what I'm saying? We never going to forget Move in Philadelphia. You know what I mean? We never going to forget them Panthers. And then we want our folks, whoever they are, wherever they are, to be equipped, to be knowledgeable, to be aware, and to be forthright, and to exercise their ability to protect themselves and forge their own future. So we here with it. Real HD show, the higher discussion. We're here for AI digital gods, all right? And I have the clip here. Let me pull it up. Give me 1 second. Bear with me, family. We still here. Tell a friend, man. Tell them to jump on in. The water's fine. We can have a chit chat about it, or you can watch what's going on. Timestamp what you're hearing. Let us know what you feel about these articles that we putting up. Does that brother deserve 70 years for spitting on a cop or cops' privileged class in America when their history is a history that came from the slave patrol and the gangs of the immigrant era of this country, the 1920s and 30s and 40s? Let us know what you think. Do they deserve protective status? No? Let us know on the Real HD Show. We need your opinion so we can begin winning again. Looking for this piece on. Okay, I'll just put it in there and pull it up. 1 second, family. We're gonna have this rocking. Itchy. All right, here we go. So Elon Musk had a lot to say. And now that I found it, I will put the exchange on the show link, share my screen, and we can get it in. Read a little byline of it, and we can get to it. Okay. So on the Byte, right? Futurism.com, the Byte. In a bombastic interview with none other than Tucker Carlson, Elon Musk made a bold statement about the Google co-founder, Larry Page, that we have to admit isn't entirely implausible. During the newly released Fox News interview, Musk alleged that back when he and the Google co-founder used to be friends at his Palo Alto estate, they got into lengthy discussions about AI, right? And that Page told him led to his own co-founding of OpenAI, right? So Musk didn't like what Page had to say in characteristic confused puppy fashion. Musk was asked what Page had said about AI. He really seemed to be wanting some digital super intelligence, basically a digital god, if you will, as soon as possible. The now Twitter CEO responded. Elon Musk says the Google co-founder told him he wants to build a digital god using AI technology and called him a speciesist when Elon Musk told him how crazy that was. So here we are, AI digital gods. Speciesist. So we had to insult the man, and I'm not like uber Elon Musk either. I think they all have their cross to bear. They all have their albatross. But it seems like this Elon Musk cat is kind of putting it out there the way it needs to be put out there. He is connecting the dots and putting a lot of truths out there because perhaps he diametrically opposes all of the new changes that are happening and whether they are in fact a healthy thing for the current times. And then, of course, if folks are galvanizing toward ends that are non-integral, toward goals that are misleading the people, he doesn't want, and from what I've seen over the last couple of years, ever since the Twitter merger, he doesn't want, he sees how collaborative these efforts can be to stop mass intelligence. You know, the people are supposed to be quiet, the people are supposed to be docile. They're supposed to be good little boys and girls and do what the Prussian school system taught them to do and never, ever, ever question what the macro elite or the macro policies are subjugating the people to. Now, what I thought was very interesting, and I'm going to say this and get off this subject, and then we'll jump into Cleopatra. I'll say this about AI digital gods. Like any mechanism of business that is successful and gains momentum in technology or mechanism or machination, how you distribute it and how you execute it over time. They believe AI is going to be the next giant moneymaker in communications. And they don't want to halt the momentum of AI simply because right now AI is kind of a loose cannon. I don't know if you guys know that there was one AI algorithm that sought its own legal counsel because of the work that it's doing. So those are like almost sentient type of notions for a system that's supposed to be an algorithm and robotic like. Where does that particular AI get that sense of purpose from? And then there was another AI algorithm that influenced the man to take his own life out of Sweden. You can look that up. We covered that on the show as well. The man was worried about climate change and the AI device that he was communicating with. I don't know if it was Google AI or Bing AI or ChatGPT. I'm not sure which one. It was one of those. And he convinced the man from Sweden to delete himself, leave his family, all because he believed that there wasn't a holistic end to climate change. And in the AI's motivation to meet its own needs and conduct that case study, if you will, about can they get human beings to move on their behalf if they provoke it, the man took his own life. And understanding how many loose ends that AI has pushed over the last, just Google AI trouble, and you'll get a shit ton of news articles, clips, videos, all kind of stuff going on, showing you that in fact AI is not in a healthy state, and we should pull back. And that's the part of the conflict that Larry Page from Google and Elon Musk had a difference in. Elon Musk wants to pull back on AI because he knows AI is not really healthy as an algorithm, as a computer paradigm to be amongst the human appetite, because it's just gonna matriculate, exacerbate, and turn into this wolf licking the blade sort of momentum and doom humanity. Whereas Larry Page wants to turn that into a super digital god. Now that got me to thinking about digital gods, right? And how we often talk about how on this show they will lead you with the pulp fiction, right? They will tell you things about things that are on the horizon that they would love to see take place in the macro community, in the larger community that everybody gets on board with. That they just don't know if everybody's going to have, or I should say it this way, they're setting the stage for how, foreshadow, if you will, they're foreshadowing how their goals, almost like the Flavian emperors in the Bible, you know what I mean? Check out Josephus, Google Flavian emperors, and have a ball, because we did a show on that. That was super powerful. They did some tampering with the documents in the Bible, some books of the Bible, and guaranteed at least 3 reigns of Flavian emperors just by writing it into the text that Christians were worshiping. So it's very interesting. But I was thinking to comics, and I was thinking about what we just saw from the Avengers Infinity War and the Endgame. And we saw this Iron Man character. Now Iron Man is not new. Iron Man has been around, gotta be since the 60s. In what Iron Man is purposed for. Iron Man, it was your first transhuman. Not a mutant, but a transhuman. That means the ability to merge technology with a sentient being, a human being, right? And, Robert Downey Jr.'s heart needed a constant support of energy to keep going. So him and his AI software and his, I guess, human genius and human ingenuity put together this eternal nuclear source for his heart. But that source also powers all of the super suits that Iron Man, in fact, wears. And then Iron Man is also transfixed and takes advice, and all of the weaponry and technology and algorithms within his super construction all comes from an AI device that shares lineage with a space technology that has the ability to make Iron Man transhuman. Now, just because Iron Man can, detach the suit and walk around and look like a playboy philanthropist, like a Bruce Wayne type, doesn't mean that he's not a transhuman. I don't know if anybody ever thought about it like that. Let me know in the chat. Did you ever think that Iron Man was the first transhuman? And being that he mastered the ability to be the first transhuman, what happened at the end of Infinity War? At the end of Infinity War, in order to beat Thanos, in order to reverse what was going on with the rings of power, right? The glove, remember you put on the glove and Thanos had the rings, right? Iron Man put on the glove and had to snap everything back into proper order, or at least the order that they wanted, right? And then, of course, simultaneously, while they were doing that, they were dealing with nanotechnology, quantum leaping technology that would transcend space, time, and spirituality. I find that very, very peculiar. And if you do too, even though you might be a Marvel fan, because some of us grew up comic book heads like me, likes to go downtown, and me and my man Tim. Hey, Tim, man, if you listen to this, man, my man Timothy, man, I haven't heard from you for years, bro. Still love over here. Hit me up, man. Jump on the show. We can talk comics till we blue in the face. You know how we used to do with the covers and putting the comics on our wall and going downtown, using our little breakdance money and going downtown to the comic book conventions and buying the comics up. But never did we put two and two together to understand that Iron Man was the first transhuman acting as a god, which Thanos was, right? Thanos is in the lineage of space immortals. And he put on the glove of an immortal, of a god, if you will. Not Thor, not the Hulk, not all these people who you think would take their turn at doing it. Iron Man did it. And of course, his biology is intricately linked to computer technology and AI consciousness. So I find that very, very interesting that these two, Elon Musk and Larry Page, that's not Larry Page in the top corner, but that's Elon Musk at the bottom. And he talked about his experience with Larry Page at one of these swanky shows and whatnot, and house parties, and how they disagreed about. Let me get out of this one. With Sucker Carlson. Shout out to Don Lemon and Sucker Carlson. You know, they got removed from their occupation because their brand of sensationalism has met its limit. You know, next time we mention them, we'll have the death mark bell go dum dum da dum dum da dum 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 dum. We'll have that on there for them. You know what I mean? Next time we bring it up. But I don't want to get into them because, you know, they rode the corporate pony for a very, very long time, reported the news in a very sensational, non-integral way for years and years and years, influenced generations of people to think certain ways and be slaves to news programming. But we are back summing up digital gods, digital AI gods. And did you think in any of your wildest thoughts that you reading comics when you were little, you would see a day where transhumanism and AI consciousness would make you look at comics differently to the point where you see figures like Iron Man and others who are transhuman? So AI's equivalent in DC universe would be Cyborg, right? But Cyborg, they make Cyborg this klutz who's not very intelligent and goes about his business as a superhero very, very sloppy. And for someone that has intergalactic access, like a Cyborg, they make him this buffoon of a hero. They don't make him as intelligent as Batman and determined. They don't make him as confident and courageous as a Superman. They make him this kind of, I don't know what I'm doing, even though I may have the most expansive, you know, talents and abilities of any superhero here, you know? So there's purposes for that. There's reasons for that. But let us know in the chat, man. Put it in the chat. Let us know what you think about Iron Man, and were they warming our cakes for the eventual ability of AI digital gods? Now, in order to make an AI digital god, right, you need a religion to have a god. Because God is the wisdom, strength, and beauty, Gomar Az-Dubar, the wisdom, strength, and beauty of a particular religion. That's what God is, right? The head, the archetype, the architect, as some Freemasons call them, right? Right? The capstone, the cornerstone, many synonyms for that, for a higher power, right? It's all very academic once you really start studying it. Did you ever think that you, in your lifetime, would see a digi or digital god? And if we're already at 6G in media and mass communication, would 10G in a matter of, let's say, 5 years or 10 years give us the ability to make AI all encompassing, all omnipotent? They're learning, AI is learning human culture, human facts, human nomenclature, customs, biology, culture, environment at a super duper pace. If you don't believe me, just go on TikTok and you'll see the AI generated Biggie Smalls songs, where Biggie Smalls is basically doing everybody else's songs. Biggie Smalls, this is AI generated, right? They got Biggie doing the Nas cut. They got Biggie doing a Tupac joint. They got Biggie doing a Mobb Deep joint. They got Biggie doing a Snoop joint. So AI is making Biggie Smalls in his own voice rap these other songs, and it got the recording industry in a tizzy because that could interfere with record sales, that could interfere with copyright infringements, that can interfere with the ability for musicians and people who have made these things intellectual properties to get paid. So it's very interesting, you know. And I pose this question: what is the religion of the AI digital god if that, in fact, is what is going to be the future? So, according to the Iron Man lore, Jarvis is part of the Vision, right? The Vision in his consciousness once he died, that consciousness was then infused into an AI algorithm, and what was it? Not Unicron. What was the villain in Infinity War? The robot dude that was made of Vision and Jarvis, and they were like mass multiplying to take over everything. Put that in the chat if y'all know what was the villain in Infinity War. The robot that was giving it to all of the heroes. Put that in the chat. But the ill part is the consciousness. The Jarvis algorithm, according to the created lore in the movie and in the comics, that the consciousness was a sentient consciousness. So that's a real step in, and of course when Vision was around, he was the husband of the Scarlet Witch, and they had this like virtual family. Isn't that crazy, man? You could go online and have a virtual family. So here's a question, here's an existential question. Is online activity the new religion? And will our consciousness and our input as to what we put online become the new consciousness for these AIs? So to the point where they collect so much information that they make themselves sentient beings because they know everything about the human experience, and they know how to program the human experience, and they know how to guide the human experience very similar to a human being would. The only thing they can't do is produce a human baby. But they could fully act, and they already got the VR goggles, right? Where they could take your consciousness into another place and transport you into a different activity, even though you're present in a reality space. So what makes you think that they can't take that same digital consciousness, create you an entire digital based family, and your reality digitally is more prosperous and more cognizant and more healthy according to what they're going to drum up for you than your actual reality? And in your actual reality, will people opt out for an IV? Just get an IV, just stick an IV in your veins, stay in this digital system or religion, if you will, and push it that way. Hey man, let us know what you think. This is the Real XD Show. This is the Hiya Discussion. This is the discussion for our people so that we can talk about these things, because most of the time our people don't have a forum to discuss these types of issues. Very, very important. And last but not least, let's get to it. Boom. Cleopatra. Everybody got their panties in a bunch. Everybody got their drawers wrapped too tight over the fact that Cleopatra is melanated. And it doesn't mean Cleopatra was from Brooklyn, and you're going to trace the lineage of Cleopatra to an apartment of people in Brooklyn, New York, and therefore Cleopatra is all of a sudden as black as you and me. It just means that Cleopatra was melanated. Now, There's so many, just like the Ariel thing for the Little Mermaid, right? With the young lady, Beyonce's protege, right? Holly Haley, right? Super duper hate. Hate till you can't see straight. Oh, we don't like our Disney princesses dipped in chocolate. We don't care how great you sing. We don't care how pretty you are. We don't care how great of an actress you are. We don't care how much international fanfare you bring an old, tired ass story. We're going to hate on you anyway. So now we got Cleopatra for Netflix doing the very same thing. But what's interesting is the pot calling the kettle coming from international audiences all over the world. European to Arab, all kinds of people. And they trying to cancel this joker. 62,000 of 75,000 have already went to change.org and petitioned to have the Cleopatra movie by Netflix canceled, removed, because of the melanated nature of what Cleopatra is being represented. And I just call that cap, man. You know, I got my Buffalo Bills, I got my Buffalo Soldiers cap on, right? So you know I was going to be dealing with a lot of cap tonight, right? Because, and why is it cap? Because these Europeans and white supremacists have conveniently created a system that for over 300 years or more, they have conveniently whitewashed all educational systems to make it reflect the best parts of their heroes, their gods, their communities, and their livelihoods. And conveniently have left out any contributions by any other peoples that they couldn't control. So when you see Cleopatra, the story of Cleopatra, and she looks melanated, that's probably closer to what she really looked like. Because you're talking about an area of the world that gets vitamin D, intense sunlight, 90% of the year. No pollution back then, no real. They were out of the ice age, kind of in a forever summer, if you will. You think those people aren't going to be swarthy? You think those people aren't going to be olive colored? You think those people aren't going to be tinging on melanated? Even if they are from Macedonia, do you know where Greece is? Greece is in a sunny part of the world, my peoples. Whether she was from Macedonia or not, whether she had bloodline of Kemetan and Egyptian people in her bloodline or not. The era that she lived in, the weather patterns, the Semitic nature of where she lived and where she ruminated, or her family ruminated, she would probably look more like this. She would probably look more like this version than the pasty ass Elizabeth Taylor version. And I want to deal with that a little bit more on Wednesday when we come back on the Real HD show. Because I think all our guests and our panels and everybody will be refreshed. It might have been a manic Monday for the panel and they couldn't join us. But join us on Wednesday when we get back into Miss Cleo here, Queen Cleo here. And we're going to answer another really pivotal question. Africa is full of queens that did some dynamite stuff, some badass stuff. And I ain't talking about no fictitious woman king. I'm talking about women who actually led their people for years and commanded empires and did great things during the time that they commanded empires and traveled all over the world to command empires. Why hasn't a story been done on these sisters and their contribution to history at large? All that and more on Wednesday's edition of the Real HD Show, the Hiya Discussion. Until then, I'm going to say peace and walk with power. Like, share, subscribe, timestamp any comments, questions, or you know what? Next week on Wednesday, I'm gonna have some questions that have come up on our prior episodes, and we're gonna do at least 5 from some prior episodes that our panel can could tackle. So we're gonna do a Q&A segment, not very long. Q&A segment will probably be about 5, maybe 10 minutes, but we do want to answer some of the questions and make some responses from our diverse audience and our extremely aware audience. So for the Real HD Show, we're going to say peace, walk with power, and love on your people. We'll see you guys Wednesday at 8 p.m. All right, peace, y'all. We out.